Today, 11 matchups on the slate. Here's a look at some of them. Bucks hoping to get Giannis back for their game with the Knicks. The Suns trying to stop the Thunder, who are on an absolute tear. And drama in LA. Luka facing his former team for the first time this season. With that, we welcome in our friend Ashley Nicole Moss. Ashley, we always talk of the championship hangover for teams, and the Thunder clearly didn't get that memo because they're off to an 18-1 start, top-ranked defense in the league. SGA putting up 30-plus points, it seems like every single night. We haven't seen a start like this since 2015, 2016. Warriors went on to win 73 games. How crazy is it to say the Thunder could break that record this season?
Not crazy at all. And I mean, when you think about it, this is an Oklahoma City Thunder team that doesn't even have J-Dub back yet. He's going to be making his appearance against the Phoenix Suns. It's Jalen Williams, for people who don't know his nickname, his street name, as we like to call it. But that is in itself absolutely insane. And we talk about this all the time. You mentioned the championship fatigue, but also with young teams specifically, you expect to see some slight regression, right? Because they're developing as individual players and they're developing as a team. But the Oklahoma City Thunder have just knocked down every narrative that has kind of been put on them since they really started to hit their stride. A lot of people thought a team this young could not win a championship. They knocked that out of the park. A lot of people had questions about SGA. He goes ahead and wins Finals MVP. A lot of people have questions about the championship fatigue. They come back looking even better than they did last season. And you have to kind of put that in the category of this is a team that has spent a lot of time together. The Oklahoma City Thunder and Sam Presti have done a phenomenal job at keeping this team together, keeping the core together. And that chemistry is everything. We're watching this team mature in real time. And the only team that I could really see currently giving them any type of competition in a 7-game series are the Denver Nuggets, because they have the best basketball player in the world in Nikola Jokic. But right now, the Oklahoma City Thunder are just head and shoulders above their competition in both conferences.
And like you said, they're not even full strength. They get Jalen Williams back off the IR, going to be a huge boost for them. Speaking of impact players, Luka Doncic facing his former squad today for the first time this season. Lakers hosting the Mavs. And one person who I'm sure is going to be watching from the couch but will not be there is former Mavs GM Nico Harrison, who was fired earlier this month after the team's struggles. Looking back now, how far back did the Luka trade really set the Mavs?
It set them a couple years back, and that's the sad part of the situation, because yes, I can understand the rationale of the team wasn't quite where they wanted it to be for the long term with Luka, but that was only because they were missing one or two pieces. It wasn't because Luka was the problem. You don't get a player like Luka every single year in the draft just waiting for you. And this is not a knock to Cooper Flagg, but there also is an adjustment period when you go from the collegiate game to the professional game, and you can never rely on a rookie to come in and save your franchise, save your organization. It's just a burden that they cannot bear unless, you're the second coming of LeBron James, and you only see that once in a lifetime. Even Wemby had an acclimation period. So when you look at the Dallas Mavericks, they were a lot closer to a Western Conference appearance once again, or even a championship with Luka wearing a Mavs jersey than they are now. And if you want to take Cooper Flagg out of the equation, you have to look at all the other factors. You have a Kyrie Irving, who's injured of a particular age. You have Anthony Davis, who has struggled with injury his entire career. You have Klay Thompson, who's of a particular age with 2 major injuries in his NBA resume. There were just a lot of things that, yes, on paper, if everything went perfectly, this team would be a lot better than what they are currently. But as we know, history also repeats itself. So you're kind of seeing a lot of the same problems for the players on the Mavericks present themselves. And it's just showcasing that Luka was never the problem, because he goes elsewhere and absolutely balls out. So if you're the Dallas Mavericks, you have to be kicking yourself and wondering, what the hell did we do when we traded Luka, and why did we allow Nico Harrison to convince us to do it? And unfortunately, Nico, I believe, was the scapegoat, because he was the one who may have made the decision, but a lot of people had to give him the okay to do it. There were a lot of people who thought this was a good idea and are now looking real foolish in hindsight.
You let go of the MVP. He's third in MVP odds, and he should win it. He really should have won it every year he's been in the league, Ashley. One more here. In the East, the surprise for you is the Toronto Raptors. A surprise
Absolutely.
for a lot of people. 14-5, second in the East, top 10 on offense, just outside the top 5 in defensive efficiency. What stands out to you the most when it comes to this team?
For me, Brandon Ingram. I mean, that's probably the biggest surprise of this Toronto Raptors team, because you expected this team to kind of be on the fringe of not fully a rebuild just because of how bad the Eastern Conference is, especially with the injuries of Tyrese Halliburton and Jason Tatum, and how that has kind of shifted the scales, if you will, in the East. But I did not think that the Toronto Raptors would be this good. Now, granted, we are in November. It's November 28th. We haven't really seen peak basketball yet. So the jury is out on whether or not the Raptors can sustain this after the All-Star break, going down the stretch into the postseason. But I will say, the way that they are currently playing, absolutely this should be a playoff team. Now, are they going to be a top 3 seed? I don't know. It's too early for me to say that. But I will say, from what I am seeing from this Toronto Raptors team, I would not want, if they can continue this trajectory, I would not want to see this team in a playoff series.
9 straight wins, and they're making it look easy. Ashley Nicole Moss, we appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thank you.
Let's take a look at those NBA Cup odds. Group stage today, we got the Thunder. Surprise, surprise. Decent favorite, because the next guys are the Lakers, and they're 7-1. So if you're looking for value, look pretty much anywhere else on the board. More HQ on the other side.
Hello, Lakers Nation. Welcome into the LakersNation.com podcast. My name's Trevor Lane, and it's game day. Lakers, Mavs, tonight, 7 p.m. Pacific time. Hope you come hang out with us for the game. We'll be live right here on the LakersNation.com YouTube channel, doing a little play-by-play, breaking down the game as it happens. As I always say, it's like a party, so come hang out. Lakers, Mavs, tonight, the final game of the group stage of the NBA Cup tournament for both the Lakers and the Mavs. We'll take a look at what this game means, what's actually on the line for the Lakers in this one. Of course, it also counts as a regular season game. Also need to get into the injury report and what the keys are for the Lakers to get this win tonight. Before we dive into everything, quick reminder to subscribe over on the YouTube channel as well as the podcast feed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. If you're not sure where to find it, just search Lakers Nation. You can find the show. Sure would love to get some more 5-star reviews over on Apple Podcasts. All right, let's get into it. Let's start with the injury update here, which is a little surprising in a good way and in a bad way. So here's what's going on with the Lakers on the injury front. We've got right now DeAndre Ayton listed as probable to play. When we didn't know if he was going to be available, JJ Redick said hopefully by the end of the weekend. So that had suggested that maybe DeAndre Ayton would be out for this game against the Mavs. No, the fact that he's listed as probable, it's a good sign that DA will be available to play in this one. You never know, right? It's not 100%, but still probable. Pretty good sign that DA will be making his return after missing last game, and could certainly use him because the Mavs are going to offer a pretty big front line, especially in just a moment. We're going to get into the Mavs injury report, and a certain someone is all but sure to play against the Lakers, making a big return. Now, the surprise here is not just the pleasant surprise of DeAndre Ayton looking like he's back in action, but also Marcus Smart being listed as questionable due to back spasms. So Smart questionable due to back spasms. That's certainly not what you'd want to see for this matchup for the Lakers. Smart has been a very important part of the Lakers rotation. I've been saying that he needs to be in the starting lineup, but regardless, whether he's coming off the bench or if he's starting, he is somebody who is important to the Lakers, especially to their defense. And you don't want the Mavs to start feeling good about their own offensive production in this game. So the Lakers have to be hoping that Marcus Smart will ultimately be a go in this one. But back spasms, very, very tricky, not something that you want to linger. So that is a bit concerning that he's dealing with these back spasms right now and will be listed as questionable for this game. Should he not be available to go, that will be a blow to the Lakers defense. Again, this Mavs side has not been great over the course of the season. They have gotten a little bit better and recently, and they do have that guy, Anthony Davis, probably coming back. In fact, let's just get to that right now. Looking at the Mavs injury report, Anthony Davis listed as questionable. We'll get to his comments, though, in just a moment. It's like 99%. Don't even look at questionable. He's playing. Like, we all know this. He's playing. 99% sure he's playing in this game. Cooper Flagg listed as available, so he got upgraded right away. But no Dante Exum, no Kyrie Irving, and no Derek Lively, who's now going to be out for quite a bit. It seems like he's dealing with a foot injury. The initial report was 7 to 10 days till the Mavs provide another update. So right there, I mean, not 7 to 10 days till he's back, but 7 to 10 days before they provide another update on him. He's going to miss some time now, Derek Lively. They've had a hard time keeping him on the floor. So the Mavs front line looks almost certain that they're going to be getting our old friend Anthony Davis back in action, but Derek Lively will not be available for this one. Speaking of Anthony Davis, former Laker, will he be making his return to Crypto.com Arena? Well, this was AD the other day getting asked because the Mavs, they play the Lakers the first night, and then tomorrow night they play the Clippers. So they have a back-to-back, night 1 Lakers, night 2 Clippers. He was asked, hey, if you got to pick, which one would you prefer to make your big return for? Here's what AD had to say.
Preference, would you rather play Friday or Saturday?
That's a real question.
I want to make sure I got it.
You know what game I want to play.
Just want to be sure.
But, we'll see. We'll have a conversation, see what makes the most sense, with the medical staff and coaching staff and see no decision that's been made. So, obviously, we'd like to, but at the end of the day, the main thing is just get back on the floor, whether it's Friday or Saturday, whatever we discuss.
Preference.
All right, so there's AD again. he said, you know which one he wants to play in. He, of course, would like to play the team that traded him away last season, and that is the Los Angeles Lakers. Once again, I am expecting him 99% sure he will play tonight against the Lakers, and also pretty sure that he will sit out tomorrow night against the Clippers. Now, if we look at AD's game log, you could see how long it's been since he's played a game for the Dallas Mavericks. Has not played since October 29th. Yikes, has missed the last 14 Mavericks games, has not played a single game in November for the Mavs, but will return to play your Los Angeles Lakers tonight. We'll get to welcome him back to Crypto.com Arena. Remember, the Dallas Mavericks also have former Laker Max Christie, another old friend, right, who such an intriguing young talent. He's had a really good season for the Mavs. They also have another former Laker in D'Angelo Russell. So we're going to be welcoming back a number of players to Crypto.com Arena, but Anthony Davis, of course, the big piece that's going to be coming back for the Mavs to take on the Lakers, which does skew some of our analysis of this game when we think about the difference between this Mavs side with AD versus without. Do the Mavs have extra motivation because AD is back and there's like kind of a win it for Anthony Davis mentality, that sort of thing? All of that has to be factored in, and we'll get into all of that in just a moment. But taking a look at the standings, here's where everything sits. The Lakers, look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. The Lakers sitting as the 2 seed in the Western Conference right now, that record 13-4. And given the context of how many injuries this team has dealt with throughout the season, LeBron James has played 3 games so far, and that is it. Luka has missed games. Austin has missed games. Ayton has missed games. Smart has missed games. Ruby has missed games. Right on and on down the list. They've had so many players dealing with injuries, and yet the Lakers have found ways to get wins. The number 2 seed in the West right now, the Dallas Mavericks, not quite as good. Right now, the 14th seed in the Western Conference, technically tied with the Sacramento Kings record-wise, 5-14 on the season, a -6 point differential for the Mavs, and they have lost their last 2 games. They're 3-7 in their last 10. Of course, the Mavs have dealt with their own share of injury issues. AD, Kyrie, number of other players have hit injuries, but they've lost their last 2 games, lost to the Memphis Grizzlies a few nights ago, lost to the Miami Heat. After that, they've lost a lot of close games, though, the Mavs had, which maybe makes this the Lakers a bad matchup for them, because specifically the Lakers have really excelled at winning close games and closing out games in a very positive way. In fact, we'll dig into their fourth quarter metrics in just a bit. They do a phenomenal job closing teams out, whereas the Dallas Mavericks have had a lot of close losses where they've just not been able to get across the finish line. However, I will say because of that, I think the Mavs may be a little bit better than what their record suggests, simply because they've had so many close games that they've just come up short in. But nonetheless, the Lakers will definitely go into tonight's game as the favorite, the 2 seed in the West, taking on the 14 seed in the East. All right, let's get into the NBA Cup situation here, where we're at with all of that, what this means, what is actually on the line. But before we get to that, quick shout out to our presenting sponsor, and that is Sleeper. We'll get to that and be back in just 1 minute, so don't go anywhere. Ever heard of the Sleeper app? Well, here's a little secret. It's more than just a platform for season-long fantasy leagues. This year, millions of users enjoyed playing fantasy sports on Sleeper, but the app offers so much more. Live stats, real-time updates, and visualization on all stats. Part I really love, the news feed. Get lightning-fast updates on your favorite players and teams, and a real-time chat. Engage with other users about individual plays and performances during the NFL and NBA seasons. So download the #1 sports app today. Experience it for yourself. The link is in the description down below. When you use promo code LakersNation, you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today, and they have a great promo going on right now too, plus a free $20 entry. No deposit needed. Go check out Sleeper and use that code LakersNation. All right, and taking a quick peek, the Lakers are indeed 10.5-point favorites going into tonight's game against the Dallas Mavericks. So even though the Mavs almost certainly have Anthony Davis coming back, the Lakers still the heavy favorites. All right, so this is an NBA Cup tournament game, the last game of the group stage for both the Mavs and the Lakers. You can see where the Lakers are at. They actually clinched the group win last game. Their victory last game against the Clippers meant the Lakers automatically will win the group. Win Group B. They've got the tiebreaker over the teams that could actually tie them in terms of the Memphis Grizzlies. If the Grizzlies go 3-1, the Lakers already beat them. So that's it. Game over. The Lakers are out of Group B. However, there is something still on the line. And by the way, the Dallas Mavericks also eliminated in the group because they are 1-2. So a win would only put them at 2-2 and would not be enough to put them in contention to get out of the group either. So the Mavs eliminated will also not put them in contention for the wild card spot. So that means that the Lakers, they're out of the group, but this game does still matter for the NBA Cup tournament. Now, I know for a lot of you say, well, I'm more worried about the overall NBA standings. Yes. And look, this game matters for the NBA. This counts as a regular season game as well. The Lakers, 13-4. They want to finish this game and be 14-4 at the conclusion of it. So it counts as a regular season game. But for the NBA Cup, where it matters is that if you win this game, then no matter what anybody else does in the Western Conference or in Group C, who the Lakers would be playing against once they get through, the Lakers would have 0 losses, which means the Lakers would get home court against whoever they would see in the next round of the NBA Cup tournament. So that's where it does still matter for LA. Otherwise, it would go to point differential, and that could get a little bit tricky when we look at what's going on in Group C. Denver right now with a plus 26 point differential, San Antonio with a plus 23 point differential. So that's where potentially they would not have home court in the next round, the NBA Cup tournament, should they lose this game. But again, to me, the bigger thing is win the game because of your standings, because of the regular season schedule and all of that, versus worrying so much about the NBA Cup tournament. I will say, I think the players play really hard during the tournament games. I think we get high intensity basketball, and I love that. I'm certainly not going to complain about that. Am I living and dying with every tournament game and breaking down all the standings, and we keep an eye on the table and where the Lakers are constantly, and every day we keep tabs on every other team? And no, we do that as we get closer to the playoffs. We do that mid-March and then into April, but not so much with the NBA Cup tournament. I still think it's fun, but has it caught on to the degree that maybe the NBA was hoping it would? Probably not, but it is what it is at this point. And players seem to enjoy it. They do seem to compete, and they enjoy competing for the extra money as well, hoping to get that for, especially the guys on the end of the bench. But bottom line, this game isn't going to change whether or not the Lakers get out of Group B, but could change where they play their next NBA Cup games as we get into the knockout stage. So that's something to look at there. The Lakers could be playing another game will another game in the NBA Cup tournament, and where that takes place could be decided by whether or not the Lakers beat the Dallas Mavericks. So that's something that is on the line right now for this game tonight. Okay, let's get into the keys to victory. What do the Lakers need to do in order to win this game? Well, let's take a look right here. And number one with the Lakers, it is always going to be the turnovers. They've got to make sure that they're cleaning up turnovers. They did a much better job last game against the Clippers. They only turned the ball over 11 times in that game. You will take that. That's a very low turnover number, by the way, and not something that I think we could expect the Lakers to do every single night. But nonetheless, that was a fantastic turnover number to see. So the Lakers on the season, though, still a very high turnover team, and it is their biggest, I believe, offensive problem. It's the turnover column for LA. Right now, they currently sit as the 26th ranked team in turnover. That's not good. There is some good news, though, and that's that the Dallas Mavericks are the 24th ranked team when it comes to turnover percentage. So just like the Clippers are a high turnover team, the Lakers now playing another high turnover team in the Dallas Mavericks. Now, whether or not the Mavs are a high turnover team, that doesn't change things too much for the Lakers because they have to stop turning the ball over themselves. The Mavs, they will turn the ball over a bit, quite a bit, and the Lakers have got to capitalize on that. Unfortunately, the Lakers have a very high turnover, high points off of opponents' turnover numbers. So they do really well when opponents turn the ball over. The Lakers do well capitalizing on that and making them pay for turning the ball over. Part of that is because the Lakers' half-court offense is very good. So even when they don't get out in fast break opportunities, which the Mavs are very susceptible to, they are one of the worst teams in the NBA defending the fast break. But even when you don't get out on the fast break, the Lakers are very good at scoring in the half court. So they've got a pretty good shot at scoring off of an opponent's turnover. But when we look at the Lakers, their own turnover percentage, it's just got to get better because what it's doing, the turnover percentage, it is pulling down their overall offensive rating, which, by the way, they are 9th now in offensive rating. So you can imagine that being one of the worst turnover teams in the NBA, and yet they're 9th in offensive rating, and that's despite them also being one of the lowest volume and worst percentage three-point shooting teams in the NBA. You add all that up, the Lakers' offensive ceiling, it is way higher than where they're at. They can be easy a top 5 offense in the NBA. In fact, right now, they're only, less than 2 points per 100 possessions off of being a top 5 team in terms of offensive rating. Now, they're about 5 points off of being a number 1 team in offensive rating right now. That's the Denver Nuggets. But this Lakers team, you cut down on a few turnovers here or there. You hit a slightly higher percentage from 3, which we did see positive regression from deep against the Clippers, and boom, you're right there. You're an easy top 5, top 3 offensive team in the NBA. I firmly believe that is where the Lakers ultimately need to be, and I'm not setting the bar too high for this group. They can 100% be one of the very best teams in the NBA when it comes to offensive rating, and frankly, they're going to have to be. They're going to have to be because we know their defense probably tops out somewhere around, I don't know, I mean, the 12, 13, 14 range, somewhere in there is probably where it tops out. 15. Right now, the Lakers are 16th in defensive rating. It's probably about where I would have them in that realm. Middle of the pack, essentially, is what I see this Lakers team as. So the offense for right now, until I think they can add some more defense to this group via the trade market, they really need to make sure that they are getting the job done on the offensive side of the ball, and limiting their turnovers is going to be very important. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. By the way, the Lakers net rating 3.2 points per 100 in the positive, and that ranks them just 14th in the NBA. Maybe a little bit misleading. We're going to take a look at their fourth quarter dominance in just a moment. Real quick, though, while we're doing that, let's take a quick peek at the steals numbers. The Lakers, one of the better teams in the NBA at getting steals. So when we talk about turnovers and the Dallas Mavericks being a high turnover team, guess what? They're playing a team that's really good at forcing live ball turnovers. Luka Doncic, Marcus Smart, fingers crossed, hopefully he is available to play. But these are two of the higher steals guys in the NBA. So the Lakers, when it comes to generating steals, have been a really good team there. So that's a bad matchup for the Mavs, because you've got the Mavs being a high turnover team playing up against a Lakers team that, while they are high turnover themselves on their own offensive end defensively, one thing they've done very well is forcing opponent turnovers. Meanwhile, the Dallas Mavericks 18th in the NBA in steals per game. Does Anthony Davis change that for them? Perhaps he does. And I think that does bleed through further, though, into some of these other stats. So like when we take a look at the Mavs, are they overall, we look at rebound percentage, right? They've been a good rebounding team. No, but we also know that this is largely pulling from games that they did not have Anthony Davis for, and we expect that he will be back for this one. So the Dallas Mavericks 24th in rebound percentage, you kind of throw that out the window because that number is largely skewed by Anthony Davis not being available. Speaking of which, you got to win the battle on the boards. That's going to be critical for this game. You don't want to allow second chance opportunities for the Dallas Mavericks. Again, not a great offensive rebounding team. They haven't been a great rebounding team, period. They're 26th in the NBA in offensive rebound percentage. But again, all of that is without the presence of Anthony Davis. So the Lakers have got to do a good job on the boards. And DeAndre Ayton looking like he'll be back in action certainly helps in that endeavor. The Lakers overall on the season been pretty good on the defensive glass, 9th in the NBA in defensive rebound percentage overall, 10th in the NBA. You'll certainly take that. But the Lakers have to continue to win on the boards because you've got a team in Dallas that is not a good team offensively. They are dead last in the NBA in offensive rating. They are not a team that can shoot the ball from deep and can punish you too much from there, which does help if you do happen to give up an offensive rebound because they tend to lead to open threes. But the Mavs, 32% from deep on the season. The Lakers at 34% from deep on the season. I think the Lakers have some room to move up from there. The Mavs certainly do too, but not a good three-point shooting team on the season. When we look at Dallas, they're also just not a good shooting team overall, 44% from the field. Yeah, I mean, look at the Lakers. Number 1 in the NBA in field goal percentage, your Los Angeles Lakers, 51% from the field. Where is Dallas when it comes to field goal percentage? Up 44%. Man, 44%, and the Mavs are terrible from three, and they're not even really a high-volume three-point shooting team. So when we figure out, like, why are the Mavs such a bad offensive team? They can't shoot. They're not a high-volume three. It's not like they're a quality three-point shooting team that just can't score at the rim or something like that. And so they're dangerous if they get hot from behind the arc. They're a low-volume three-point shooting team. They're a poor three-point shooting team. And they're a poor shooting team in general. So the Lakers have got to take advantage of this Mavs team and capitalize on these missed shots. That's the one danger is when you get a team that misses a lot of shots, they can, if they can make that up by being aggressive on the offensive glass, which I'm sure Anthony Davis will be, that can provide the scoring opportunities for them to mitigate some of those misses. The Houston Rockets, obviously they've been much better. They're number 1 in the NBA in three-point percentage now. But prior to getting Kevin Durant, the Rockets were always one of the worst teams in the NBA at creating out of the half court. But it didn't matter as much because they just crushed everybody on the offensive glass. And that's what they're continuing to do. They're number 1 in the NBA in offensive rebounding this season. So the reason why I say the battle of the boards is so important is not just because the Mavs have size, but it's also because they are a poor shooting team. There's going to be a lot of rebounds available in this game. You've got to go get them. You can't give this Mavs team life. Again, they're not a good rebounding team, Dallas, but I'm kind of throwing that out the window with Anthony Davis almost certainly playing in this game. So you got to win the battle on the boards if you're the Lakers as well. Don't let the Mavs start getting thoughts of, hey, if we hustle, we can outwork this Lakers team and we can get a win that way, because that's the feeling they're going to start to get if they start racking up a lot of offensive rebounds, if they start mitigating their misses by getting offensive rebound opportunities and turning those into points. Really important that the Lakers finish off possessions with defensive rebounds. Now, the last thing that I've got for our 3 keys to winning this game, close strong. As I said, this Mavs team have not been good closing out games. They've struggled. They've lost a lot of very close games. But the Lakers, on the other hand, take a look at this. Part of the thing, people say, well, how are the Lakers middle of the pack in net rating? How are they middle of the pack in net rating, and yet they're 13-4? How is this possible? Well, part of it is when we get to crunch time, look at the Lakers in the fourth quarter of games offensively, 7th in the NBA in offensive rating. So they step it up offensively. But oh my goodness, for a team that, again, I think they probably top out middle of the pack defensively, 6th in the NBA in defensive rating in the fourth quarter. So when it's crunch time, when they have to lock down, the Lakers certainly can. And by the way, the Mavs defense, it is good. Look, Nico built that team to be a really good defense. They are that. Mavs defense in the fourth quarter, 105.4 points, but the Lakers defense also steps it up. And then if we go look for the Mavs offense in fourth quarters, 26th in the NBA. So nowhere near the Lakers' offensive ability. Look, the Mavs, they are a good defensive team. The Lakers, they're a very good half-court offense. They're a very good offense in general. I think the Lakers will be able to score on this Mavs defense, but there's going to be a lot of emotion behind this game. Anthony Davis coming back. He's going to be fired up. We saw his very first game for the Mavs last year. how he can just be an absolute dominator when he is completely invested. And we know as Lakers fans, we know when AD is fired up and he's in a game, he is 100% a game changer. So for the Lakers, if this game is in jeopardy, and I hope it's not, I hope the Lakers are up by 25 and we get to kick back and relax for the fourth quarter. That would be wonderful for tonight's game. But if this game is in jeopardy, the Lakers have to continue the trend of their defense stepping up and closing games in the fourth quarter. We look at net rating. The Lakers are the fourth best team in the NBA in fourth quarters when it comes to net rating. Again, how is this team so good? How are they winning games despite being middle of the pack in net rating? It's the fourth quarter. Conversely, if we wanted to add on to this, the Lakers, they have to get off to a better start in this game than they have been. We want to go look at first quarters. Lakers right now, when it comes to first quarter numbers, have not been nearly as good. In fact, it's part of the reason why I think perhaps they should change their starting lineup maybe and put in Marcus Smart if he's available. The Lakers 19th in offensive rating in first quarters and defensive rating in first quarters 22nd. So they very much get better as games go along. Part of that maybe credit to JG Redick, the coaching staff, the adjustments that they make at halftime, the changes, the way the Lakers adapt their game as the game goes on. But if this game is in jeopardy in the fourth quarter, the Mavs, they've struggled in those scenarios. The Lakers, they have not. It's important that they do continue to close out games strong, really take it to the Mavs in the fourth. What you want the Mavs thinking in the fourth quarter is, oh no, here we go again. What you don't want the Mavs thinking is, tonight's the night we break this streak of losing games in fourth quarters. Tonight's the night that we buck the trend and we win and we dominate a fourth quarter. You don't want that getting in the Mavs' heads. And that's really, if I were to put another point on here, one of the big keys whenever you're playing a team that has really struggled on the season, you need to make sure that you don't give them hope. Hawkeye style, the worst thing you can do to a bad team is give them hope. Or I guess he was Ronan at that point, but don't give them hope. What you want this Mavs team to think is, oh my gosh, what did we get ourselves into? You want this Mavs team to think, well, maybe we can get the win tomorrow night against the Clippers. They haven't been as good. Let's get the win against the Clippers, because you want to come out, you want to punch them in the mouth, and you don't want the Mavs to think tonight's the night. All eyes are on this game. It's a cup game. This is a game that's going to be watched by everybody. This is a game that's got emotion behind it because of Luka and the Mavs and AD and the big trade and all of that. Tonight's the night that we're going to show everybody what we really are. Tonight's the night that we're going to get the win. You don't want that thought getting in their heads. And then you've got the Mavs going 150% at you tonight. Instead, you want the Mavs to think, oh, yeah, we can't stop this team. This Lakers team just keeps scoring on us. We're not scoring on them. Okay, maybe our starters can get a little rest in the fourth quarter, and we'll see if we can try it again tomorrow night. You don't want thoughts of an upset really getting into the Mavs' heads. So don't give bad teams hope. So far, the Mavs have been a bad team. The Lakers need to remind them of that, jump all over them from the start, and take this thing all the way to 14-4. Lakers Nation, give me your thoughts in the comments down below. And don't forget to come join me tonight. Lakers, Mavs, 7 p.m. Pacific time. Be live right here on the LakersNation.com YouTube channel, breaking down the game, doing a little play-by-play, and then right after, we'll have the